Welcome to the Soapbox Sessions. Imagine this, an open and free internet where voices are never silenced, where causes aren't shadow banned, and where no one can be deplatformed. It's real, it's here, and it's happening on Nostr. So, what exactly is Nostr? It's a worldwide community of everyday people working to decentralize the internet. On Nostr, you can build websites, communities, social networks, apps, and more. One login works everywhere, you own it, and no one can take it away. No more juggling dozens of platforms, chasing audiences, or managing a giant password list. And the cherry on top? Nostr allows for built-in digital payments that can come from anywhere in the world. On Nostr, value flows as freely as ideas. We're hooked on decentralizing the web, and we think you will be too. So now, let's hear from your hosts, Derek Ross and Heather Larson, who are working to grow Nostr one vibe at a time.
Welcome back to Soapbox Sessions. Today is October 29th, 2025, and we're here with your weekly dose of all things decentralized, social, and AI. Soapbox Sessions is our soapbox about what's new, what's cool, and what's coming. We want to make it easy to understand and keep you up with everything happening in the decentralized world of social communication and AI as we work to rebuild the internet. Hello,
Yes.
Heather.
Dude, that's what we're
Long
doing. We're
time
rebuilding
no
it.
see.
I've seen you the last 2 weekends. I've seen you and Mrs. Ross.
I know, it's too much.
We hung out too much. We've burned it. We gotta get away from each other. But we are virtually on Soapbox.
It was worth it though, because we
had a great time.
We had a great time. We had a lot of fun. We
Mm-hmm.
did a
Met
lot
a lot
of
of people.
things to grow the Nostr. We hung out with friends and like-minded folks.
Made new friends.
So last week, yeah, we made new friends in Nashville when we were at Nostrville 3.0.
Hey, you know what? That's like 3
And-
years of
And I
Nostr and
think
events.
I think you cheated on me when you were there.
What
You
did I
were
do
on
to
another
cheat?
podcast.
I
You were
wa-
on another podcast.
Actually, you know what? Not only was I on another podcast, I also recorded more for my own personal podcast.
I know
So
you
I
did.
doubly cheated on you.
You were on two. You were like 3-timing me or what? Like,
I'm
come
like
on now.
like a podcast whore. Yeah, I was on Pleb Chain Radio. Shout out to QW and Avi for having us on, and also for the
Man.
occasions when they've had Alex Gleason on.
I hope that
Let's
isn't
talk
our
about it.
show title next week.
Podcast whore.
Podcast horror.
Oh my god!
love
Well, you know,
it.
before there was the podcasting,
So you
there
were
was the
on with Pleb
broadcasting.
Chain.
Yes.
You were on Pleb Chain Radio. Our
Yes, the
friends
idea was
QW
to-
and Avi.
Yeah, we wanted to preview Nostrville because it was a live show. So if you didn't hear it live and you didn't hear it Saturday morning, then you went to Nostrville surprised in Nashville. So it was a good show, but we talked about a lot of tough topics too, and some of the tough questions about what we do in the value for value music space and kind of like where we're at, what we need, which I think is a conversation we started when we were at Nostr Valley there in State College. And then a little continuation of it on Pleb Chain Radio, you know, because it was me and Open Mike and Ainsley talking really 2 weekends in a row about it between Nostr Valley and Pleb Chain Radio. So there's a lot to say. There's a lot to discuss. And, you know, this is an evolving space, which is good that we're having these conversations.
Well, it's also because it's new, too,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's
building
evolving
it.
because it's so new. It's a new concept. We're literally building it before the musicians' very eyes and the consumers' very eyes. So
And yes.
there is going to be bugs and there is going to be hiccups along the way and speed bumps, road bumps.
And you mentioned the
trailblazing.
musicians, which is who I want to have the input and not just a
Yeah.
podcast slut like me. But I want the musicians to have input on how the technology will work for them and the music. So the other podcast I was on is my own. Remember when we were in Austin, I don't know if you knew this, I interviewed Catherine in a back room, like the green room.
I did
my
because
Tascam.
I saw her show up. I was like, oh my God, Catherine, gave her a hug. And then I didn't see her again. I was like, where'd she go?
I stole her.
And then
I did it
I
again
found out-
Saturday.
I found out that you were interviewing her.
Yeah. So
way
the
far away.
first interview, okay, so I haven't put this out yet. So you'll be able to hear this. I started editing it and got nerd sniped and life sniped and whatever. But you know, the first interview we did, like Ainsley's mom interrupted us and like Adam Curry interrupted us because we were like in the green room at Antone's in Austin. Right. And this was her first ever podcast interview. She'd put her first song on Fountain like 4 days prior. And so she and her producer at that point had made $40 in the value verse, which is still more
My
than you're going to
favorite
make on
thing about
Spotify.
Catherine in Austin is she got it right away. She
She grasped the
understood
idea.
value for value. I
4 days
remember
into it. Yeah.
her song was being played, and I sent her like 5,000 sats, and she was like tickled giddy that she got
Yeah.
5,000 sats. And then the next person was playing
Ooh,
music,
I
and
get
she like
chills.
turned around and sent them 1,000 sats. And the next person after that was playing music, she sent them 1,000 sats, and she's like, "Oh my god,
Ooh.
this is amazing!" Like
And
anyways, yeah, Catherine's
yeah.
awesome.
So I did the second half of the interview with her, and it was funny because we took a room up in the upstairs of Bitcoin Park in Nashville, and Ainsley's mom interrupted us again. So we kept with tradition. Adam Curry was not there to interrupt us this time, but this time we had a different conversation because she had been in Europe over the summer. She's gigging in Nashville. She records in Nashville once a week, every week on Tuesday. So she's got her music career that she's doing, and then she's also got, like most musicians, a survival job, right? So this would be great for her. So I got to talk to her and get some input on like, what do you want the apps to have for you to upload your music? Where are you
Mhm.
sharing your music, which obviously is Fountain, and why are you choosing Fountain? Are you going to branch out to Wavelake? And asked her those kind of questions to get her point of view because she's, about 10 months, almost a year into this journey of coming into value for value music and using this technology that is open source, Bitcoin and Nostr, which is a way to, help fund her career, because recording every week isn't cheap, and you still have a survival job. And this is a very talented artist. She has the voice of an angel, just the
Yeah, she has
soulful
a great
voice.
voice.
Oh my God,
Very
she's
beautiful, very soulful voice.
phenomenal. So being able to support those artists and get their input, that was what I was after. And she asked about Soapbox. She's like, what are you doing now? What is this Shakespeare thing? How does this help me? And I was like, well, you don't have to spend a bunch of time and money on a website, for your fan club or whatnot. I forget what I said exactly, but kind of the point is, musicians are spending enough time, between social media, legacy social media platforms, and Nostr, and Fountain, and Wavelake, and Spotify, etc. Like, let me name off the 50 apps that they either have to use consistently or pay for, even just uploading their music to legacy platforms too. I mean, that's like a whole task and a whole annual expense as well. And then when they get back, maybe not that many plays. Maybe people are discovering the music and maybe they make $2 a year. I'm serious. Like if they're lucky off of Spotify spins, it's just something's broken there and people shouldn't have to have survival jobs and there should be a way for us to fix this. So right now being early and on the ground floor, like, yes, we want the musicians to join up. We want podcasters to join up into this cause and give us feedback. What do you want all these companies, some of which have money, some don't, some are bootstrapped. So what do you want them to build? What's your use case? How can they help you? Like, this is the time to get into this space. Give that feedback to all of the folks who are building things and really just be a part of something very unique and special, just a very grassroots movement where, in a few years, I think this could be really, really something special that does support artist careers. I don't know. What do you think? Because you've been on this journey with me too. You've been to some of the same events.
Well, I think that if we're talking about onboarding,
Mm-hmm.
which is primarily what I've been focused on over the past 3 years now, I think that onboarding hasn't unfortunately gotten that much better. I
Right.
think that we have a wide plethora of new tools. We have a wide range of new features, but the same age old problems still exist for users. The same pain points still exist. So
Totally.
we now know the problem. We know the groups of people and how to onboard them. We know the tools that they want. We know the tools that they need. We know their pain points. We've essentially done all the market research over the past 3 years, and we
Oh yeah.
still don't have the tools to get it right for them. And as somebody that talks to hundreds of users, maybe thousands of users over the past few years, it's
Mm-hmm.
really hard to do onboarding because
There's
Nostr is
multiple
very
steps.
technical still. Well,
Yeah, multiple
and
steps,
the
multiple
majority of
apps.
these, the majority of these issues rely or come from zapping. Like if you just want somebody to use
That's
Noster,
true. Yeah.
they generate their key and boom, they're in. That is working 100%. If you say you want to download an app and make a Noster post, boom, they can do that right away. And that's going to work. Uploading content is a little bit of a hiccup. If it's small content, small videos, small
One picture. Yeah.
images, yeah, that's going to work. I would say 99.99% of the time. Where you get to an issue is where it's a content creator or somebody that wants to upload large files, large videos, long videos,
And then
large
they get
photos,
compressed
something like
and
that.
yeah.
Then there's
Or need to
issues
be
because
compressed.
storage costs money and people aren't used to paying for storage. So to pay for storage, you have to have, premium accounts on some of these different media providers like, Primal or Nostr.build or Nostr Files and so forth, Satellite.earth. There's a lot of different places to go. Well, that right there is confusing because there's a lot of different
How
places
do
to
you find all
go
those
and
places?
you're not told, hey, well, you're not told, hey, you're trying to upload a 500 megabyte video. It's going to fail. It is 100% going to fail
But
because
I
you're
think users
exceeding the limit.
are
And apps
users are
don't
used
tell,
to
well, apps
limits
don't tell
though.
people that.
Right, but I think users are
Yeah,
used to
but we
limits
don't
from
tell
the
people that.
legacy.
It just
Yeah.
fails.
It should just be built in of like,
And
hey,
like
before you do this,
I've seen it
before you
fail
waste your
multiple
time.
times. And well, we need to get it right. We need to say,
Yeah.
hey, you're trying to upload this X amount size file. For the best experience, you need to purchase storage from a media provider. Here's a list of 3 different ones, 4 different ones. Here's our recommended one. Here's our platform, whatever.
I mean,
So
I'm
we could do a
able
lot of
to
service to
maybe
users there to not set them up for failure.
I think there should be like I don't know, maybe like a little walkthrough of like, all right, you're on Noster, whatever app it is, doesn't matter. Make your first post, like a tweet, right? Because people are familiar with that. And then, okay, now make a post with a
And that's going to
photo
work.
of your cat or whatever. And then it's like, okay, the next level is
And
now you want to post video.
The cat photo is going to work.
The cat photo is
Like
going to work.
if
'Cause
you're going to make
I do it all the time.
if you're going to make a 1 minute, 3 minute video, sure. But if you're going to make a 30-minute video and try to post that like you would, like on YouTube, or if you're going to post a very large
Which,
image, they
maybe
fail. They do.
I think that it would be cool to, I don't know, if there was, like, I found an app today. It was terrible, actually. It was not a Noster app. They were trying to be a Noster app. I'm going to say some nasty things about it, so I don't know if I should say the name of it. But they are a social media posting
Call them
app.
out.
Call them, okay, it's
Call
called
'em out.
Posties, like Postiz.
Posties.
The first red flag
Okay.
should have been that you could sign in with a wallet, and then I opened it up and there was like a dozen shitcoin wallets. Okay, so I should have known, but I'm like, no, I'm determined to see if this thing can really post to Nostr. So I signed up for an account. I had to give a credit card just to charge $1 just to get a 7-day trial, right? So that's a second knock against this. But finally,
Yeah, well, I don't think I would
also,
do that.
I should say that the language on the website also proved to me that they did not understand Noster, because their selling point was, get ready for this. You're going to fall out of your chair laughing. To end the confusion, there's so many apps, so many different Noster clients. And, how could you possibly post to so many Noster clients? Really? People are
Yeah.
going to believe them and not understand that there's
Yeah.
interoperability. So I knew you were going to laugh.
It's interoperable, my guy. Like, come on now. This is how a protocol works.
This
You
is why you
post
don't
on
hang out.
one and it shows up everywhere. That's literally
hang out with
how
shitcoiners.
Nostr works.
They're going to rug
Yeah,
you.
they
So the
don't-
final rug.
They don't understand it.
The final rug. This is where I drew the line. I was like, let's see how I can log into my Noster, right? And they wanted my private key. They want me to raw dog my private key. There was no Noster login, no extension, no Nippo, whatever, Nippo 5, Nippo 7, whatever it is. So I was like, okay, this is where I'm out.
You said they're doing scheduled posts, right?
Yeah, scheduled posts.
So that's why they want you. That's why they want your NSEC, because they want to be able to sign transactions, sign events as you at a later date, which means they could do it at any time. Like what? Like, nope. Major red flag. Do not give NSEC.
Do not ever give up your NSEC and raw dog. Like, they had no Noster login whatsoever. So there was many red flags. I had to go through with it just to see what they could do.
They're a new app. They're a new app. They're allowed to struggle. But our apps that have been around for 3 years, I mean, I'm hoping that soon they're not going to be struggling. So I was talking about the issues with media uploads. Like that's solvable through UX, I think. That's solvable through UX instead of
Yeah.
just letting people fail because they tried to upload something that was too large.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm a
we
fan
can
of
fix that.
it should just work,
But
right? It should just work. Like,
so what we do whenever we onboard musicians is we tell them, Noster has a music app, and we give them like Fountain, or we give them Wave Lake, and then we say, hey, you can use another app, and look, your content's available on the other app. So we show them Primal usually, because Primal works on the web, it works on Android, it works on
built-in
iOS. So it's
wallet.
easy to just have one. Well, this is part of the issue. We're like, hey, you don't need any KYC to use Noster. Oh, by the way, if you want to use Zaps on Primal, you have to,
And Primal's not gonna work if you're in New York State, so
and well, or Canada, but there's,
Canada too.
and I'll say that's medium okay, because you're giving some trade-offs for the ease of use. But
Mm-hmm.
if you tell people, oh, you don't have to use the built-in wallet, or maybe they can't because where they live, you say, well, you can use another app. Maybe we recommend Damus and Nostr Wallet Connect, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe we use, Amethyst and Nostr Wallet Connect and so forth. But then it's like, well, we want a Nostr Wallet Connect to your Fountain app because you're a musician and that's where you published your music. Well, Fountain yet doesn't support Nostr
Well,
Wallet Connect.
you
They
know what
said
I've
they were going
learned?
to a few
This
weeks
this is
ago
what
when I was talking to them, so that's coming,
what I
but it doesn't
want.
yet.
What I've learned, and and this is why I want it, is because I learned this in Nashville, is that a lot of artists want to be paid directly through Cash App. So let's get everything working with Cash App or Strike, which people also like
Well,
and are aware of and is popular. But if the musicians use or prefer Cash App, then get everything interoperable
I
with Cash
think
App,
I don't
which
remember
is
his
also KY.
name. I think he's the drummer for Ainsley Costello's band.
Eli,
When I was chatting with him, in
Daniel.
Daniel sounds, yeah, I
I'm
think
trying to
that's
remember
his
which
name.
band member
But
does which.
I met him multiple times, obviously, but I was sitting down and at the table with him in Lancaster last,
Mm,
and he had a bunch of Bitcoin that was in his Fountain app. He was getting, he was using his Fountain Lightning address, and he was getting payments in there. And he was going to transfer it to his Cash App so he could sell on Cash App, and then transfer the
okay,
dollars to
to the
his
card.
bank account so he could pay his rent. Like that
Good
that's a
idea.
perfect workflow. That's a perfect workflow. I think an even more perfect workflow would be Cash App supporting Zaps. This
Yes,
is
that's what I
where
want.
it gets this is where it gets confusing, because Cash App does support the ability to receive. It just
Well, I
doesn't
can.
have that Noster integration where it
mm,
communicates back to
Okay.
Noster. So if
Yeah, because
somebody adds their Cash App, oh, you can add it. You can add a
I
Cash
use
App
it on
Lightning
Wave
address,
Lake.
and it'll 100% work. It'll
Yeah.
100% work. But if you're using Cash App for Zaps, Heather, and I zap you 1,000 sats, you will get 1,000 sats. I won't get the feedback through Noster telling me that
Mm,
you got those 1,000 sats. So all the whole reason that we have Zaps, so you can see them on social content and for
yes.
feedback, we
Zaps
won't
are
know that.
social. Yeah. There needs to
It's
be a
missing
two-way
that. So that's a
street.
piece of the
Yeah.
puzzle. So you can, like, and I've actually done this. I've had somebody that I didn't realize they were using Cash App, and I sent them, whatever. It was like 1,000 sats actually. I sent them 1,000 sats, and I didn't see the feedback that it went through. I'm like, huh, didn't go through. And I sent it to him again, and I didn't see the feedback, and now I'm getting mad. I'm like, what the hell? What's wrong with my node? Why isn't it zapping? And I zap him a third time, and then I'm like, what? And then I go and look at
Uh,
my node, and I see I've sent 3 payments out. I'm like, oh, the payments are going through. Interesting. Why isn't his zaps working? And then I looked, I said, oh, he's not using a zappable Lightning address. And now maybe that's me as a technical user, like understanding how it works, being
totally.
upset. But
But
I'm looking, but why wouldn't a normal user think the same way? They're used to seeing the feedback that the 1,000 sats were sent and received.
like you're
So the
seeing the
normal
feed,
user
the Noster feed. Like
go
you're seeing the Zaps on Noster,
well,
you mean?
you see it on the note. So that my point is that this is a point of contention, because you don't know which Lightning wallet to use that supports the feedback on Nostr. They don't all of them don't do that. They all
That's a
work,
good
but they
point.
don't all support the feedback. And that's confusing for people. So I you think if Nostr continues to grow, all wallets would eventually support it. But here's the funny thing. Cash App actually, before they rolled out Lightning addresses last year, they actually did support Nostr Zaps. And
Really?
then they
I
took
didn't
it.
know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. And then they took it away before they went live in production.
Well, then it existed and they can bring it back. I would think
So,
anyway. I'm a
Terry,
Cash App
if you're
maxi.
listening, you need to add it back. Come on,
Paging
Terry.
bring it back. Cash App is what got my niece. This is why I love it. I'm long time Cash App and Square customer, but my niece on New Year's Eve said, "Hey, will you show me the Bitcoin stuff?" Because she saw that she was getting like Bitcoin roundups from buying coffee. Because Lord knows these kids buy coffee. They're at Dutch Brothers all the time, and so that was kind of her moment where she was like, "I don't know about this and I don't understand it, but I can call Aunt Heather." And she can show me the Bitcoin stuff. She calls it
Yeah.
the Bitcoin stuff.
Well, we need apps that have good user experience that work with Zaps. And we have some that do, but
Yeah.
it's a matter of
Well,
and and not to get like overly technical again, but these are questions that it's
but he
hard to
will.
recommend wallets to people because do they custody themselves, self-custody, non-custodial?
It's a do your own homework kind of thing. But
It
here's the
is,
thing.
but
When
if
people
we
see
had
Zaps,
interoperability between Primal with Nostr Wallet Connect in Fountain or Fountain and Nostr Wallet Connect in Primal, those two apps could be our literal go-to for every single person that we
yeah,
onboard. And
because
then everything else is just an option if people want to dig deeper and have more
yeah,
choices.
the burden is on us to it gets exhausting because we always run into the same hurdles no matter where we are. If we're at a bar, restaurant, we're onboarding people, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna get you signed on. We're gonna tackle the private key first, and then they're gonna see Zaps, and they're gonna want to Zap. They're gonna want to So we're gonna tackle the wallet thing, and get it all working
Tackling the
together.
wallet thing is such a pain in the ass, and it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be. Like, it literally is like, I mean, media is media, and you can fix that. But the wallet thing, there's
The
just,
wallet thing is
some
harder to
people are going to
fix.
come back and say, oh, just have them use cashew.me and npub.
You're gonna get a
Cash.
different answer from everybody. That's the
I'm
problem
just like,
right now.
man, like that's too nerdy for the vast majority of the world, man. Like, until you've gone out there and tried to onboard thousands of people, like, I love the technology. I love all the cool stuff that everybody is building, but 99% of the world wants to roll their face across their phone and have it work.
Well,
And
what's
if I
wrong with
can't
that?
sit there and
That's what I want to.
and if I can't zap you by booping my nose on my fucking phone, then I don't want it.
Exactly.
Like, I want to do zap boops. I was like,
It should just
boop,
work.
there's a zap.
Boop.
It should just
that'd be
work.
great. There should just be an ostrich, and you tickle its tail feather, and it zaps you. Like,
I think
that'd be great.
I think this episode we're airing it like a month and a half too early. This should have been the Festivus episode where we air our grievances.
We're airing our grievances because we've been traveling for 2 weeks and putting on events, and now we're like,
we're airing the grievances.
Everything that's wrong.
We do.
Festivus.
So
it's a Festivus for the rest of us.
We had the event in Nashville, Nosterville 3.0, and we were streaming it live. We had a recording session, or not recording session. What's it called? A songwriter session for Ainsley Costello and Joe Martin.
Songwriter
and we got to
round.
hear Joe's songwriter round.
Songwriter, the sacred Nashville tradition. Where, by the way, I found out
songwriter round.
Songwriter rounds are usually unpaid for the musicians. They usually do them, but they don't make money doing them. Well,
Julie actually mentioned that earlier tonight in a meeting. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
but it makes sense, right? Like they're basically shilling their new content for you, so they're putting it out there for you.
I don't think anybody should ever work for free. I don't know if that makes sense. To me, I'm going to get on Toonster really quick and see what actually they made, because this is, for a tradition that normally doesn't pay money.
500,000 sats. I know what they made. It was like 400,000.
Yeah, 512,305 sats accounts. So we're zapped in an hour. So 1 hour event for musicians where they normally make $0 cents sats, whatever. Probably don't even get a free
They
drink.
got about $550.
Yeah, between the two of them, which is amazing because, you know, again, they're self-funding these albums. I mean, Joe Martin was just traveling all over the US to record this new album that's coming out in February. So, you know, that's a tremendous help for somebody like him. Every dollar counts. Every sat counts.
Well, and since every dollar and every sat does count, and this is how they're getting paid, it's highly frustrating when these don't work as well as we want them to. So whenever we were trying to stream, we stream either through Zap.stream or Toonster. They're essentially the same platform, where Toonster is locked to only allow certain npubs to stream because it's Open Mic's Toonster platform, and he controls who can stream there. Where Zap Stream, it's open to anybody, but it's essentially the same, very, very, very similar platform.
Toonster's a fork of Zap.
Yeah. Zap Stream.
Zap.stream.
And neither of them, they're both great platforms. I mean, I use them all the time. I use Zap Stream and I watch Kieran work on it all the time. But unfortunately, they have a lot of bugs. And sometimes they don't work. And interoperability, like, this isn't a Zap Stream or a Toonster problem, but interoperability sometimes doesn't work.
Nostr problem.
Like, for example, I was trying to watch the stream on Fountain Zap to make sure that it worked. And every time I hit play, the last podcast that I had listened to, Revolution.social, shout out to friend of the show, friend of Derek, Rabble, it was playing the podcast when I would hit play of the live stream every single time. So I forced closed the app. I cleared the app cache. I reopened the app. I hit the live stream. Rabble's thing starts playing again. Like, what the hell?
Maybe Rabble was
and then
trying
eventually,
to reach you.
Rabble was Rabble hacking the stream.
He was trying to tell you something.
And then Julie, she was on her iPhone, and the stream didn't even show up on her Fountain. So it didn't show up on hers.
Didn't show up on my Fountain either. It didn't show up in my
I could not find it on Primal. I couldn't find it on Primal, but I did see it on Amethyst. And on Amethyst, I was in the stream on Amethyst, and I zapped on Amethyst, and my zaps weren't showing up on Zap.stream.
But they did show up.
That annoyed me.
Eventually on Toonster, I think we saw them.
They eventually did show up. Not all of them. Well, I zapped 21K 3 different times on Amethyst, and that literally pissed me off because they weren't showing up. So I said, fuck it, and I went to Zap.stream and zapped 100K, and that eventually showed up. So yeah, I zapped 163K that night, mostly out of rage.
Usually I am not at an event, a Toonster event. Usually I'm watching from home because there have been so many of these over the last couple of years. And so I'm used to zapping from home. So when you have to zap in person on your phone, it's a different experience. And that drove me crazy. But I was like, I gotta zap this. These are like my two favorite people. I gotta
Do you know how I ended up zapping on Zap.stream? I opened Firefox. I used the NOS2X extension on my phone. And signed into Zap Stream. Now, as I'm speaking out loud here, I'm like, duh, there's an Android app. I could have tried it from the Android app, but I didn't, because I was just so annoyed that my zaps weren't showing up.
Right, and in the moment, I'm like, I want to listen to the show. I want to enjoy the show. I'm present here.
Exactly.
I don't want to be
sitting
screwing with the technology.
I'm fucking with my phone for 5 minutes instead of watching them sing. Like, I'm getting annoyed here. I'm missing.
Because I'm sitting in the front row, like watching.
I'm literally in the front row on my phone instead of paying attention to the show. I just wanted to give you my money. Can I please give you my money?
And we are like the most Nostr people.
So frustrating.
So hopefully the Nostr devs, all 30 of you, hopefully you're all listening. Are there like 200 devs? I don't know.
So think about it. My job for the past 25 years has been teaching people how to use technology, or fixing technology. That's what I do.
You help us boomers.
And I'm literally struggling with getting this stuff to work. Dear God, can you imagine somebody that isn't in Nostr or Bitcoin wanting to be able to zap at somebody?
They're going to give up. They're going to say, screw this. It's
That's
too much
what
work.
People need to realize. The early adopters that are on Nostr now.
Or take them up for the team.
There's two types of people here. You're either a technical person and you don't mind the things that aren't working perfectly because you can figure them out because you're technical. Or you're an early adopter and you do not care if things are broken because you are highly bullish on things getting better in the future. So you will
Yes.
stick it out and you will work at it over and over and over again until you figure it out. Or you'll give up and you won't care because you know in your heart that it's going to work eventually. The
It's gonna work
vast majority
eventually.
of the world, the other 8 billion people don't give a fuck, Heather. If it
I
doesn't
know.
work in 30 seconds, they are gone. They are
This is
gone.
true.
They are never coming back.
This is where we are at, where if you don't grab somebody in that first few seconds,
Yes.
you are gonna lose them.
Like-
So yes, it has to work.
like,
It has to work
This
exceptionally
is
well.
this is like the
Yes.
most bearish Noster episode that we've done so far.
I know,
And
I
I want
know.
to say I'm a huge Noster bull. I love
I know.
I love Noster so much,
But we're being
I'm just being a
honest.
realist right now.
Festivus.
After
Yeah.
the Festivus. Like, where is my big metal pole? Like, not to dance on, because Festivus, you need a pole for Festivus.
It's not that kind of show, Derek.
Oh my God. That's the Christmas show.
That's
It's
really
just so annoying that
Yes,
we want things to work.
We've worked
And-
really hard at this and put on multiple events, and we've done multiple podcasts, and
We've spent
we've interviewed a lot of users
countless
Yeah.
time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears, and a whole lot of money.
and meetups.
it's
Going to meetups and
just-
meeting people and
it's
trying
just-
to onboard people.
It's
and
just frustrating.
it is.
Heather, if I'm trying to onboard other technical people, that's
He's
fine.
gonna let me
They're
have
going to
it.
deal with the bugs. They're going to deal with the bugs because
Yeah.
they're technical themselves. But
And,
if it's
we'll talk about
if
it
it's
for
a
hours.
non-technical
Too.
person,
Yeah.
they're done. But
Yeah,
they'll
they're-
talk about it for hours, and
Well, because when it
So-
comes to tech, people who are non-technical, they take it personally and they internalize it and think, "Oh God, I'm stupid, and this is embarrassing, and how the
Mhm.
fuck do I do this? And I'm just not meant to do this, and why bother?" And
I
you know,
think the best thing for every single developer, if
Mhm.
you're a developer and you're listening to this,
Listening to
you
Festivus.
need to ask your users or people that have never used your app before to record a video of them using your app for the very first time and
Mhm.
testing features and onboarding
I
and see
did
how they
this.
use it. You will be amazed. Do you remember, that meme video from years ago where the girl, she's a developer and she's taking all these like shapes and putting them in like a container, and like I'm like Avi describing the meme here. She's getting all flabbergasted and all upset that people were putting the different shapes in the different holes because they technically fit. And she's like, "Oh, the triangle, that goes in the triangle hole." And the guy turns it on the side and like shoves it in the square hole. And she's like, "Wait a second." And he's like, "Oh, that's a rhombus. It goes in the rhombus hole." And he's like, "Yes." And he flips it to the side and he's like, "It goes in the square hole." And she's bugging out and losing her mind that the end user is putting every shape in the same hole. And that's the best analogy for how users use your applications. They're not going to use them how you think. So
No, they
we need
don't.
every Nostr developer to have a recording session with
Well,
normies.
I did
Like,
this.
go to your farmer's market and be like, "Yo, I will give
Pull a
you
random.
$20.
I'll
I'll give you $20 if you try to use my app. Do you have 5 minutes to make $20 and watch them try to use it?"
We
I
must
don't
bribe
know.
people.
These things
Bounce.
need
I
to
did
be
this
done.
for our dev. Lemon was working on an app, and I was like, I'm not gonna like do it and take a screen. I'm gonna go all the way, and I'm gonna screen record me, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna have my little commentary going. And
He
he's like,
said
"Oh,
that
that's
was
actually
so helpful.
that was helpful." Yeah, because he could see
He said it was so helpful.
my midbrain thought process of trying to use his very fancy, special new app. And like you all know at Soapbox, if someone's gonna break something, it's gonna be me. And because you guys can't
Heather
make anything
Breaker
Heather-proof.
Larson.
God, I'll break so much. I think I've broken everything lately. I think I broke Riverside. I think I broke all of Soapbox tools. If there is a bug in something, I'm probably going to find it because I just wreck things. Like I will find a way to find a bug somehow. I don't even know I'm doing it. I just do it. And so like, that's what users need to do. But I think most people get frustrated and they just don't get feedback. And like, no, we want feedback. We want complaints. Like that helps us make it better. And I noticed that too, like y'all are galaxy brains and you're talking about this and that and the other. And I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about, but then when I see it, I'm like, what is this? Is this the thing they were talking about? Because I think when you are so close to this is probably independent of software development. When you're totally close to something and you're doing it every day and you're in it, you just don't see it from another person's point of view. That's all. Whereas, like, I think we have a lot of technical conversations in Noster and not enough conversations that an end user who really needs this technology, who can really benefit from this technology, could understand. Like I talked to our friend Val today about something that she wants to build, and I'm like, hey, Noster is not there yet. People are working on it. Have no idea when they'll be done working on it, when you can have the thing that you want. But people are working on it. So it's interesting to see another person's point of view.
Like, developers aren't not working. There are
No, they're working
some
hard.
that actually have user experience teams that are trying to solve this kind of stuff. I think that, and sometimes I need to do this too, is that we all need to realize that there isn't a 17-year-old $4 billion company with 25,000 employees working
Yeah.
on this app.
I don't think any company like that exists in the space.
At most it's a 2.5-year-old company with 2 employees. Like
yeah, it's and the marketing person's trying to answer questions, and I'm not a DevRel, but let me help you because the DevRel is busy right now. It's kind of what
so
we
we
do.
can give them slack, and we can do our best to help them out. And I think that comes down to us continuing our onboarding and struggling and hating life for a little bit, and then taking this rage, bottling it up into a nice, constructive document, like throw it into like Claude or Chat GPT and be like, hey, make this more friendly. And then after we do that, we submit it to our developers that we love and cherish, and we say, hey, these are the issues that we're having. These are our pain points when we're trying to actually onboard. Can you help us out and make my life easier?
I should mention this stuff is hard. A lot of these devs are not
I think
funded.
That's our path forward.
Yeah, we got to find a way to make things simple. I'll work on the dumbing down of all of the language that we use, because it's how I'm marketing. Like, I'll work on that. That's my department, of trying to take what all of you Galaxy brains make and dumbing it down for people out there who are like, I don't want to know what a cryptographic key pair is. I don't care what that is. I just want to log into Noster. Like,
that's
so
another
I can have
thing.
A social media.
That's another thing that we need to figure out collectively to make easier. I think that there needs to be a different solution. I think it's great to use cryptographic, key pairs, but I think it's too hard for people. And I think that there should be some clients that want to custody people's keys for them. And people are going to hate me for saying that, but we know that humans like humans like custody.
There's no difference between what you just
humans have liked it for thousands and thousands of years.
There's no difference between what you just said and somebody paying money for 1Password. Honestly,
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's not applications custodying it. Maybe it's a form of bunkers in the applications having the built-in bunker,
or we're overthinking it,
and it uses it better than it does now. Like,
I
think that would work. I think that if we, but you use Damus, right?
Yeah, I use all of
and essentially on iOS, Will has said that he essentially wants to build a signer into Damus, where Damus is your bunker, Damus is your signer, and Damus is the home base for all of your Noster apps to do all the signing. I think that more applications need to do that. That's what I mean by like the custody. It can be self custody,
or
it can be self custody.
The most simple thing.
Tools.
Because here's a question for you, because you're Android and I don't. With iPhones, and what is it? Half the population has an iPhone, half has an Android. I don't know how it works out, but with iPhones, at least, it's like you have a password app
in the US,
that comes
it's
with
like
it.
That.
Is that okay? So just in this one country, okay. So we have enough people with iPhones. Here's mine right here. So this thing has a password app on it. And you can use that to store your NSEC, or many NSECs, as were the case for me. And so, like, you don't have to pay extra for it, okay? It comes with the iPhone. And then if you want to zhuzh up your security and practice proper hygiene beyond that, then you pay for 1Password, which I do. Or you could pay for Proton. It doesn't have to be 1Password. Just pay for a password manager. And this is probably a good idea to just, if you have a family, just buy the family plan and train everybody in the family to do it. Because again, every day of my life, I am in a data breach. I get an email that something's compromised and I need to change a password. And this is just what life is in 2025. So take good care of your NSEC from day one. There's probably a free app already built into your phone to do it. And then while the devs and Derek and the devs, like Benny and the Jets, when you guys solve this problem,
Derek and the devs.
When you solve this problem for us, let us know. Otherwise, there is a solution already.
I want someone that's listening to this to make a theme song for Derek and the devs, and I'll give you, I don't know what, 20,000 sats for it.
All right, 20,000 sat bounty.
It can be AI.
If you're listening, pup. If you're listening, Sir Sleepy. 20,000 sat bounty.
Listening,
I'm gonna take this little
20,000 sats to make a good. It has to be good. Like it has to be good. The lyrics.
Devs.
I mean, it can all be AI slop, but it needs to make sense. Okay, it needs to make sense at my discretion. If I think it's too sloppy, I'm not paying it. But if I listen to it and it makes me smile, and I'm like, it's pretty badass. You're getting 20,000
slop is pretty good now.
Okay?
Someone's gonna get your 20,000 sats that, man. I've never made an AI slop song. I've had no desire to, but now I do. Am I involved in this contest? Can I win the 20,000 sats?
No. You are part of the podcast, so you cannot participate in that contest.
Maybe I'll call
That's
Ainsley.
I forgot to.
We'll have Ainsley write a song. Derek and the devs.
Okay, now that might be worth more than 20,000 if it's like an Ainsley original. I think so.
That's worth a lot more.
That's pretty
worth
cool. All right, let's make that happen.
100,000. Oh.
Well, come on now. I'm not rich, I'm not a whale. Like,
I'm trying to spend Derek's money for him.
Yeah, stop trying to spend my money.
I'm like one of your kids. I'm like the extra kid.
Yeah, I know.
I come with a bill.
Do you need a wallet on my node?
If your kids can figure out how to zap.
Speaking of nodes, I think we should pause the loving complaints.
The Festivus
constructive
bitching?
criticism.
Yes.
For a few seconds.
You're being very diplomatic.
When you mentioned nodes, it reminded me of a major node event that we had happen last week. Yeah. People that were running Albi, if you had an Albi account or running Albi Hub, they had a way to reset your password for your Albi account, which is nice.
Speaking of cyber hygiene,
reset your password. So what people were doing, somebody out there, I'm assuming somebody out there crawled Nostr profiles because Nostr is the best Lightning address book that exists.
True.
People then took all of the Albi Lightning addresses and went to Albi's reset your account password form. They put in the Lightning address and then hit I forgot my password. And their form, unfortunately, said, hey, a password email has been sent to email address @domain.com to reset your password. Click here to reset your password or whatever. So it gave plain text what the email address is associated with that.
That sucks.
With that Lightning address. And it would have been okay to do that partially, but sanitize it. That's what like a lot of places will do. Like they would like maybe show the first letter and the last letter just so you could verify, oh, that is my email address. But the rest of it would have been like covered in asterisks so you couldn't see it. Like they would sanitize it. That's kind of standard practice to do that. But unfortunately, Albi was not sanitizing any of the reset email address. So people were harvesting email addresses. So what can happen? Just spam, targeted attacks. Maybe these people will, since basically what this proved is this email address is a Bitcoiner. So let's send them phishing emails and spam emails to try to get them to click on things, to do things, to steal their funds and identities and all that good stuff. Yeah, so basically what happened with the Ledger attack, like 5 years ago, those type of emails that people have been getting for 5 years. Same thing now with Albi. You'll get those type of messages. But Albi has fixed the email reset, so that's good.
We just
but
can't have nice things. Like we just,
bad. I mean, if we're
you
being
know, if you,
honest, everybody has leaked our email address over the past like
yeah,
2 decades. So this is just one more. Like, if your email address hasn't been leaked by somebody, like, do you even use the internet, bro? Like, come on now.
exactly.
Like
I get one every
I'm being,
day,
you know,
and I get weird spam
like
every day
it's
too.
ridiculous, and it's a shame how many places have leaked our data over the past 2 decades. But that's another conversation.
Yeah, definitely
It's a
paying
big
for
deal,
like.
but in the grand scheme of things, like, whatever.
There's nothing we can
Your
do
email
about it
address is
now.
probably already leaked by fucking Facebook or Twitter or Instagram
Oh
or
yeah,
whatever, some forum you use. Like, it's just unfortunately a way of life right now. That's why KYC is bad. KYC is the devil. We
I
should all use
know.
cryptographic keys, Heather.
You're preaching to the
Cryptographic
choir.
keys.
But yeah, people like to have simple logins to things, and people don't take care of their username and password. They don't save it in a 1Password or whatever password manager you use. And people just don't take care of those things and think, oh,
Yeah,
I could just always have a
password
password
managers,
reset.
use them.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things that sound. If you've never had a password manager, you're probably thinking that sounds stupid. But it is life. Okay, I don't know the email or the password to log into anything because the password manager does it for me. So I have one less thing that I have to think about. I mean, look at it that way.
You know, years
It's
ago,
positive.
I used to remember, well, I wouldn't say I remembered all of my passwords, but I had an algorithm in my head that based on the website.
I had an
Yeah,
algorithm in my head. That's the quote
I
of the day
did.
right there. I had an algorithm in my head.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the name of the show, Head Algorithms. Or just I had an algorithm in my head.
So you started with like password 123, and then 90 days later was
No, well,
password 124, and password 125.
so essentially yes, but what I did was I took the name of the website that I was logging into, and based on the name of the website, I used alphanumerical characters to generate a password in my head. And so if you gave me like 30 seconds, I could figure out the password for every single one of the websites that I was
It's
logging into.
amazing.
Yeah, like, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to give away all my, I don't use it anymore, but for a decade I did this. And all my passwords were unique, but they were all based off of like the same Eric algo. And then I started using a password manager.
See, see if
But
you
for 10
X-rayed,
years, for
if
10
you
years, I
X-rayed
used the
our
algorithm
heads.
in my head.
Okay, so my head has one hamster on one wheel. Okay, Derek's head has about a dozen hamsters on a dozen different wheels,
I had a
and then
lot of
there's one
hamsters.
extra one running around trying to like pass through all the wheels too. Like that's have you
Yeah, and
X-rayed
that
us?
dude that's running around trying to pass through all the wheels, sometimes he does, and that's when I get nerd sniped.
So that's how that happens.
Yeah,
And our
yeah,
boss
it's that
nerd
fucker
sniped you
that's
today,
always
so
trying to. He did. He
he's gotten
did.
into it.
You know, yeah, Alex nerd sniped me earlier today. I'm just going to go ahead and give some breaking news. By the time this episode comes out, I hope that you'll be able to build Android apps with Shakespeare. So Claude Code, yeah, Claude, Anthropic, they announced Claude Skills like a week ago. Think of the Claude Skills as a way to have customized processes or customized like MCP almost or customized sub agents
Okay.
underneath the main agent, underneath the main task. So you
What
could
does
be
that mean
doing
to me,
build,
like the non-technical part? What can I do
so
with it?
well, you could do anything. So you could fine tune or fine very fine grain processes to do very specific tasks. So think of it
Okay.
as like how you have your context, like your system prompt, and you have your user prompt, your Claude prompt and stuff. Now split that up into 10 to 12 different very specific things that you can call on at any time.
Mm.
So example of this is you can, like, if you go use Claude Code on their website on claude.ai, they have maybe a dozen skills that come with the application. One of them is creating images. One of them is using Canva to create
Hmm.
presentations.
So it's like bookmarking skills, maybe?
Well, yeah, it's just very specific, very fine tuned. So think of it as you build this prompt to do this very specific thing, and you want to call on it from time to time when you need it. You don't need it all the time, but you could call on it at any time you want to. So
Okay, because I
you would
kind of do
essentially
that.
like copy and paste this prompt maybe and save it into like a prompt library. And then when you
Yeah,
need it, you would copy and
totally.
paste it and say, okay, now I want you to do this specific thing. Skills
Hmm.
are a way to have infinite number of these prompt libraries essentially saved that you can call on to do specific things at any time. And it's really, really cool because like you can build something very specific that that normal context window wasn't going to build. So it's a way of like almost calling a specific context window to build a thing and then going back to your regularly scheduled context window. So we had friend of the show, Carnage, talk about wanting to build native applications. And he's like, oh, someday it would be cool if Shakespeare was able to build native apps. And Alex and I were kind of talking, and Alex is like, hey, Derek, you should check out these Claude skills that came out recently. And I was like, oh, yeah, I've been wanting to do that. Sure thing, boss. I will do that. I'll check it out.
4
And,
hours
one
later.
thing left. Yeah, literally 4 hours later, I'm like, okay,
Hours
I was able
later.
to, I was able to figure out how to build skills, like build these skill sets. And then
Hmm.
I build a specific skill set for building Android apps. And then I applied that skill set to Claude. I opened up
Dude,
my Zap Tracks music app. And then I said, hey, build this as an APK, build this as an Android app or whatever I said. And it did. And then I now have the Zap Tracks Android app on my phone. And it works really, really well, and I'm super stoked because you can now take this skill and apply it to any app that I've ever built in the past 6 months, and I can turn any app into a native app. And I'm gonna
like a
bet it's
native
gonna work for a
Android,
majority of them.
like an Android phone
Native
app, you
Android
mean?
app, yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
so I spent a lot of time and many, many hours today working on this, and then I told Alex about how it works, gave him a bunch of and whatnot, and he started nerding away at it, and now he has skills working with Shakespeare. So eventually, we may have the ability to do this inside Shakespeare. He's actually working on deploying a desktop version of Shakespeare right now. And since it's a
Were we
desktop
supposed to
version
say
of
that?
Shakespeare, yeah, we can. We work for Shakespeare. We're allowed,
That's true.
or we
A
work
little
for
alpha
Soapbox.
there.
Yeah.
We didn't plan on
So
saying that. He just spilled
the
it.
de- the desktop app, since it's desktop, it has access to desktop resources such as Java and
Hey,
the Android SDK, Gradle, things like that are needed to build Android apps. So in the short term period, until we get this working on the web, people will be able to download the Shakespeare app for like Windows, Mac OS, Linux, run it on their laptops, desktops, and build Android apps probably in the next few days. So
the
that's really
acceleration
cool.
of all of this is actually ridiculous at this point. Like, in the best way. Like, wow.
If we can pull this off, like if Alex can then like I'll say once this is like a proof of concept and working and we see the people really want it, if he can port this then over to the web and do all this on the web without a build server so users don't have to rely on us, for anything. I think that
The goal.
is next level. Now, I did realize that this does open up some problems because not every single Android app needs to have the same permissions or needs the same functionality. An example of this is if I have notifications in my app, but the app itself doesn't actually have notifications, so it doesn't need that capability, that permission, or vice versa. The Android app doesn't have notification permissions, but you want notifications to work. Music controls, access to GPS if like you're doing treasures, all sorts of stuff. So access to different Android system level permissions will be a little bit harder to figure out. But that just might be well, like a technical person would understand, oh, I need to do this. But we want to make it easy for non-technical people to make an Android app. So we need to kind of figure out
Yeah.
a way for the AI to review the code and take a best educated guess at what permissions it feels the app
Still,
would
like,
need, and then maybe
what a
ask,
time to be alive.
and then
Like,
maybe ask, right? Like prompt
yeah.
you and say, "Hey, it looks like your music app needs access to system lock screen to be able to show the lock screen music controls and the notification shade lock. Would you like to do this?"
Okay.
Or looks like your app is a map app. Do you want GPS? Or, there needs to be a way for users to the average person, to be able to go in
Yeah.
and like pick permissions. I'm sure Alex will. He's a prompt genius. I'm sure he'll figure that out, and then it could work for everybody.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Dude.
super bullish,
make-
super excited on Shakespeare Android apps. iOS, it's probably not gonna happen. But Android, it's
that's a whole
open, so it
different
makes it
ballgame.
easy.
I've learned
Yeah,
this with
that is a
Runster
different
that, like,
game.
it's easy to make an app on Android, and then when you try to recreate the thing on iOS, and yeah, you're gonna have some problems, and that just goes with the territory. As I'm learning,
Gonna have
it's
some problems.
much easier to build Android apps, just so you know. So if you're thinking out there like, oh, I want to build a cell phone app, yeah, just Android. Android is
It's
the way.
always been that way. Like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always been that way. Android's, wow, this is another show, but Android's becoming more like Apple, more closed all the time, unfortunately.
I read something
That's
about this the
another
other
show.
day. Actually, it was today, and in fact, this morning, and people were like, well, "This is why we're bullish on Shakespeare." And it's like, yeah, I mean, because everything's getting more closed. Everyone wants to lock you in and get that subscription
And we're
money.
trying to make the web open again.
Yeah, we're trying to unlock it and keep you independent and keep you free.
So the Soapbox team will be, the majority of the Soapbox team will be at SatsConf.
Yeah, in Brazil.
Tomorrow, I think.
Ooh,
Right?
that's
When's
right.
SatsConf?
Well, let's look at the
November
There's so many
7th and 8th.
events. How could we keep it straight?
It's in
Yeah,
Sao
so
Paulo.
that's
Sam,
that is most
Alex,
of the team.
Chad, Patrick, Daniel. Yeah, all the devs, basically. All the devs will be doing dev stuff down in
Living their best dev lives.
Brazil at SatsConf, November 7th and 8th. Alex will be doing a workshop on Shakespeare and possibly a talk or a panel. I don't know the details on that. I'm still working it out with Lucas. Hopefully we can get him something else. Put him to work when he's there. So if you are going to be in Brazil tomorrow, go see Alex Gleason in team, learn about Shakespeare, pick his brain. It'll be fun.
Please, he'll answer any question. He's not scared. That's like one of a million
scared.
events that we have coming up. Oh my god, I'm looking at the list and I'm like, I'm glad it's not me. You guys are all doing it.
The next 2 months are going to be so busy.
Yeah, we're ending the year with a bang. Like, there's so much coming up.
Sam's going to be adopting Bitcoin. Alex is going to be at the HRF AI Summit. Sam's going to be at Nostrasia. Eric's going to be at Bitfest in Nostershire. Alex is going to a super secret Noster Dev Conf in Costa Rica.
Ooh.
Alex, MK, and Chad are going to BTC++. I'm sad about that. I was originally asked to go to that, and I'm like, oh my god, Taipei. I can't make that one. So I'm happy that they're able to go because that's going to be fantastic. So our team is going to be surrounding the globe.
We're going to be everywhere
the next 2 months.
Derek and I have
everywhere.
Been a couple places, and now we're passing the baton to Brazil. And then,
we are.
The Derek the rest of you guys will be San Francisco, Manchester, just everywhere. Spreading the open source AI fun. Getting people using Shakespeare and the rest of the things that we do. The laundry list of Soapbox things that will give you more freedom online.
It does give you more freedom online. That's kind of our goal, right? Like,
there's something to be said for being able to
without barriers and make the web
shut down
open again.
Make it open again. Make it, again, I was talking to our friend Val today, and she's wanting to make, a community, like an educational type thing online. And she was showing me, like, ideally I would want this thing, but by the way, the thing that I want, I've researched it and it costs $360 a month. Okay,
She's
so
been
if you
talking about building this for the past year now. I think that
and
Shakespeare is
there's
now
no
finally able to support her initiative. Because I can remember
yeah.
a year ago when she wanted this built, and I'm like, this is
Mhm.
going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean,
now
that's
she's going to be able to build it for a fraction of the cost.
yeah, like nobody should have to pay $360 a month to run an online community or online business and
That's
have to like
crazy.
daisy chain together other things on top of it. Because if you want to use a
Hmm.
legacy app to build your community, but you still want to accept Bitcoin, because like everyone stands up an app with Stripe, and Bitcoiners we don't want Stripe. We want to use something like Zapright or BTC Pay Server. And so like you still have to stand up like your Bitcoin instances on top of these. Even if you wanted to build that expensive thing, it's still not going to be done. You still have to make it Bitcoinish. So like, yeah, that's what we need to work on. Let me add that to
Make
my
it
extensive
Bitcoinish.
wish list. Make it Bitcoinish, which is the biggest problem because I
I
hate
think we,
Stripe.
you know,
Hate it.
all have very large, long wish lists,
I'm working on some things
and
myself, though. Like I can vibe code
we
a couple things I
need.
want.
That's how you nerd snipe yourself into oblivion.
I know. You have set this example for me. You have made an example of yourself getting nerd
I
sniped nearly
know,
daily and on the weekends.
and
Like if
it's a good time.
oh
It's a
yeah,
good
if
time.
Derek is awake, he is nerd sniped. Like he does have to work, but
Well,
he
it has
will gladly
consequences
be.
because your free time
What
goes
free time?
from, you know,
Well, you know
yeah,
what?
exactly. Like your free time
I
diminishes as vibe coding intensifies. Free time goes down.
I do not watch that much TV. I still go to the gym. I still see my friends. Like I'm not psycho about it, but like the vibe coding means something has got to go. So like there's no TV watching anymore. There's just let's build
But
things, make
I
things.
like my TV though.
You still watch TV? You have time to watch
See,
TV?
so what happens is I'll spend all night working on something, and then it's,
Uh-huh.
10, 11 o'clock at night, and I'm ready to go to bed like I am now. And I'll be like, man, I didn't watch any TV yet. I need to unwind and have my
Oh, there you
brain
go.
like just veg. So I'll go and like sit down and watch just like a half hour or something. I don't care what it is. I can't go to bed like without unwinding because I
You
don't
got to
know.
calm the
My
hamsters
brain's
down.
the hamsters are running all over the place. That one asshole's trying to break free, and I need to soothe them all to sleep. If I can soothe them to sleep, then I'll be ready to go to sleep. Otherwise, I'll lay there thinking about things for like hours. So I need to
Yeah.
like turn my brain off slowly.
I think my version of that is like trying to read a book and my eyes slowly like close and I'm like, all right, I'm out. Fall asleep in my chair or I can get up and fall asleep in bed like a normal person.
Do we have any boosts or any shares that we need to read? I think we have one from
Mark,
a friend of
I
ours.
gotta talk about Mark. Mark is an insane, great supporter of all the podcasts in the space. And I'm going to call you out, Mark. I had to correct him on Nostr. I'm going to do it again. He said, October 28th, he said, Nostr pod couple vibing together, meaning you and me, but we're not a couple. You're like my brother. And he's throwing
Well, we
salt in my
are a
game.
pod couple, though. We're a couple
We're
of
a
people
pod
on
couple.
podcasts.
Well, I just didn't want people to think we're a couple because, first of all, like you're very happily married, and also don't throw salt in my game because I'm single.
I don't think any, first of all, I don't think anybody thought that. And second of all, do you think that
I hope not.
you could bag this, Heather? Come on.
I'm sending this to Mrs. Ross. She's gonna be like,
Yeah, she's like,
she's like,
she knew what
yep.
she got into 20 years ago.
Do I think I
Well,
can
on
bag
that
that?
note,
That's the end of the podcast.
on that
I'm out.
note, keep
Who can bag
building,
Derek Ross?
and if you're lucky enough,
Thanks for the laugh, buddy.
thanks for listening. Thanks for following
Thanks for
us
the
on the
balls.
Noster. Check us out on all of the places where you can catch podcasts. But if you want the best experience because you can participate in the value for value economy, check us out on Fountain or any other podcasting 2.0 app. Thank you.